Hello again, YouTube, and I'm back. In this video here, I have some a wrap up and my final commentary on this process. As you can see here, I've got both cells connected together in series, and I am charging them. And like the others, my intent is to keep these cells, or charge them, if you will, for an extended period of time. So you can see how energetic it is right now. And also, I want to kind of mention, why I used certain types of material. When I first took a cell apart some months ago, I took one cell apart and I was going to see if I could repair the short. And I used the same material that came inside of the cell, meaning those plastic rods, to try and repair it. And that failed miserably. What had happened is I put it back together. I took a lot of time to take the cell apart, separate, remove any obstructions and stuff like that. Put it back together, and when I put it back together, put the cell back inside of the container. Number one, it didn't fit right, and number two, when I finally got it, the plates back into the container, the cell was still shorted. So at that point, I knew I needed to get something else, or use something else, or basically just, this cell is, destined. The cell itself at the time was destined for the dump. So I decided to use the mesh material. And this mesh material, as you can see, my previous cells, I had them on a charger for 4 days straight at 30 amps. 4 days straight at 30 amps. And so the thing is, all 4 cells at the time, and it was constantly bubbling like this. So this right here means that this thing is charging pretty well. And if you look at the mesh material, it's right there. It's not moving. It's not doing anything, because those plates are packed in there really, really tight. If you notice in my other videos, you'll notice I had 3 clamps on it. And those 3 clamps were so that I can, keep the plates in line, but also to squeeze it tight enough so that I can get it inside of the cell or the container. And so once they're in there, obviously the pressure is released, but it's still packed in there really, really tight. And to kind of give you an idea, okay, what I've done is this material here, I've kind of folded it in such a way to kind of give you an indication of what it's like on the inside. Think of this material, 5 layers deep. And as you can see, the more I layer on top, you can see that, it still stays permeable, okay, but it makes it very, very difficult for those plates to touch. And not only that, but as far as thickness, the thickness of this material is about the same thickness as you would get from the original material, or those little plastic rods that you get that can come with the cell itself. Also, the reason I chose this material is because it's a mesh material, but it's not cloth, and it's industrial. It's rated for industrial use. This is the material that I used, and again, it's 5-flex mesh, and you can see the part numbers. And the point is, it was alkaline resistant. That was the most important thing for me. It was alkaline resistant, it's fire resistant, and it has high strength. And the stuff comes in a roll. You can see, if you're in construction, this is probably familiar to you. If you look at where the mesh actually stays, or where the mesh goes, you can see it goes between 2 base coats. And obviously with these base coats and stuff like that, there's some chemicals in those base coats. And this thing has to be, kind of resistant to whatever chemicals that takes. So if you're in construction, you're probably already, in concrete and something like that, you're probably already, knowledgeable of this. Me, I'm not. But I had to kind of do my research. So this is why I got it. And when you buy the roll, it comes in something like this. It comes in a roll. This right here will last me for a while. I've used a lot of this already, but I mean, I can do my entire bank with this with no problem. Also, so with this in mind, I have this portable charger here, or portable benchtop power supply. Right now it's voltage controlled, and I've got it set to like 3.6 volts. and it's constant 28.3 amps, which is fine. It's fine. Right now, both of those cells, I've tested the voltage, and they're probably 1.62 volts to 1.64, and that voltage will climb eventually to even higher. So right now they're charging it where I need them to be. So YouTube, I just wanted to kind of finish up with this. With this series, I've shown you that I have went through cells that have been shorted, cells that were shorted and the plates badly decomposed, some of them anyway. A lot of the plates badly decomposed. I've shown you where I've cleaned cells that were badly carbonated, or had a lot of carbon buildup on them. A cell that actually had some type of rust-like substance, looks like rust because of apple rust, cleaned it with no problem. And a cell or two cells that actually had some type of varnish like material. And just like one commenter said, it was probably the oil, and I agree. I do apologize. I haven't been able to get back to all of your comments. I've been busy, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. But anyway, so I've shown you all of those cells, all those. I think I've pretty much run the gambit as to what you can expect when dealing with these cells and the conditions. I have seen some cells that have been in horrible condition, but yet and still, with them cleaning, they're doing pretty well. And as you can see right here, you can see those bubbles, and you can see the plate or the plates and the mesh material. The way I've got it in there, it's pretty stable. So that mesh is not going anywhere. So the thing is, just want to kind of show you folks this, and also encourage you if you want to do it yourself, that it is possible. It is possible. And so this is 6 for 6. And if you have any questions and so forth, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. But if you got your own cells, it's going to take some work. It takes some effort. But the thing about it is, it takes some work to do this. But the very thought that you can actually take some old rusted, or cells and some pretty, batteries that are in pretty bad condition, clean them up with some material that's readily available, and put them back into service after 30 and 40 years of use. That's something to take note of. This material, I bought it online at Home Depot. It's available online at Home Depot. I ordered it online, and they shipped it to the store, and I picked it up. And one roll should last you for a very, very long time. And as I mentioned before, the reason why I use this, I mentioned why I use this, but key point is I cut this material up into 5 strips that are the size of the individual plates. So we're talking, and all of the plates are the same. The only difference, one being nickel, the other one being cadmium, but they're the same size. And so the thing is, I cut this strip into 5 layers. Or cut 5 strips and put them on top of each other, and that will give you the protection as far as the isolation put in between, and also it will provide the appropriate thickness. Okay, it'll provide the appropriate thickness so that once you put it back inside, they'll be so scrunched together that mesh is not going to move. Now you may want to, as you add it inside the container, you may want to ease it in there so that the mesh doesn't kind of slide out because of the overhang. But just generally carefully put it in there. As you can see, all of those, they're at even height. Everything is in there, and it's pretty well. What I've also discovered is you can actually cut it to the width of the plates, and you'll be fine. You can cut it to the size of the plate exactly, and you'll be fine. In my previous ones, I actually had it overhang a little bit, but I actually, in these final 2 cells, I just simply cut it to the size, and that way, there was no, the mesh, as you were sliding inside of the container, it didn't slide around or anything like that. But so it worked out really, really well. So if you have any questions or something like that, give a shout, and I'll try to answer it for you. Okay. All right, with that, take care, YouTube, and good fortune on your own projects.